Tony Katz. Good to be with you, Tony Katz, today. The debate is very peculiar. It's the first debate. It's happening next Wednesday, and one would think that it was going to be important. One would think that it was going to matter. One would think that it was going to really and truly show us what these candidates are all about. Maybe give some people an opportunity to be heard. Maybe give some of them an opportunity to reintroduce themselves. But that doesn't seem to be what we're getting when people like the mayor of Miami, Francis Suarez, who polls at 0%, is allowed in to the debate itself. And then when you learn what it is that's going on with Fox News and the rules, Chris Stigall joins me right now. He is the host of Philadelphia's AM 990, The Answer morning show. You also hear him on the air in Kansas City. The man is a dual threat. He is the only other guy I know. Well, really, there's like three of us. There's you, me, and Lars Larson, who do what we do, doing multiple shows. You're the one who kind of brought this to the fore, Chris, about Fox News. And this is how they wrote it up. Fox News placing strong limits on social media clips of the first debate. And you posted like the rules. Fox News has secured exclusive media rights to the Fox News Republican primary debate with partners Young America's Foundation and Rumble and where it's taking place. And it's this whole maddening list of how they expect the digital content to be shared. What is it that you discovered, and how did you even come across it?
I got the note from Salem Legal. I work for Salem Media Group in Philadelphia, and my podcast is distributed with Salem as well. And I love working with my colleagues and broadcast partners at Salem a lot. But one thing I will say for them is they are buttoned up. And when it comes to legal matters or running afoul of any kind of law or potential problems, they're extraordinarily careful and cautious. They're very judicious this way. And so as such, for the first time in my broadcast career, I was sent an edict, an email from Salem Corporate to everyone in programming. I was one. And that attached document that you just saw was there. And I started to pursue this with, that you can read it for yourselves. And I encourage everybody to do it. I said, is this something that our legal department wrote up? And they said, no. This is what Fox News produced and sent out to all of us. I said, all of who? They said, everyone. I said, everyone in media. They said, yes. I said, so you're telling me Tony Katz, me, Anderson Cooper on CNN, all of us who aren't Fox have to abide by this thing. And we can get into some of the specifics in a minute. They're outrageous. I've never heard of limits and rules like this in my life since we've been doing this. I've been in this for over 20 years. They said, yeah, that was the case. So I just said, well, hell with it. Then I'm going to share it. And I did. I put it up on social media.
And off it went. So we're talking about the fact that when their coverage happens and there are clips, right? And we use services like Grabian, right, that we pay for to get access to these clips and other things, and other people use other services, but they get shared around social media everywhere. Fox is saying no to that sharing, or no to you making your own clips. You can only use our clips.
I gather both. I mean, as well as I do in this business, in our game, it's grab and go. It is kind of cafeteria. We're all sort of snatching and grabbing from different sources and outposts. And I'm sure you've done interviews on your show that have been lifted and used as material on other shows and network shows, interviews that I've done. I understand the attribution saying, this clip courtesy of so-and-so. I don't have any problem with that. Fox News' very specific ask this time is, if you take anything from our debate, it can be no more than 3 minutes in length total. You can't use any more than 3 minutes. Now, this debate's easily going to be what, an hour and a half, 2 hours? No more than 3 minutes. And you can only use that 3 minutes for 7 days. After 7 days, you will never be able to revisit any audio or video of our debate again, ever. That's what that document says in short. Now, Tony, I don't know about you. I've never heard of this in my life.
Talking to Chris Stigall, radio host out of Philadelphia, I want to know how they're going to enforce it.
Right.
Because it's one thing if they were trying to enforce it on you or I, because of where we do create our content, right? There's actually an entity one could go after. You're going to go after Johnny on Twitter. I'm sorry, X. You're going to go at how do you go after these people? And isn't there a conversation, Chris, about this is a presidential primary? This is information that is necessary to form an opinion about who you're going to elect.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked with constitutional attorneys about it who all believe it falls under what's called fair use. As you understand, it's something that we've all kind of operated under the assumption that when you're talking about public servants, particularly governors and senators, or those that would like to be the highest office in the land, that's of public concern. That's public speech. Now, listen, again, I appreciate that Fox is producing this. Sean Spicer made this point to me, and it's a good one. He says the reason we're in this position is because the RNC gets in bed with people like Fox, and Fox says, as long as we can control the show and we own the rights to the show, we'll put up all the money to produce it. The RNC has absolutely no financial skin in this game. So I'm not defending the RNC, but I am pointing out the RNC is at the behest of their host. And in this case, it's Fox. So Fox gets to call the shots. And so when you're asking yourself, why doesn't the RNC step up, or why don't candidates step up? That's why. This is like a $2 million enterprise that Fox is ponying up. And as such, they're flexing and saying, well, we own the content. I would maintain this is not like a football game or a movie or a television show. You're not creating a product. You're facilitating the broadcast. I respect that. But these people are public servants, not football players. It's not the NFL or MLB.
They made note in the contract or the terms and conditions that Rumble, the video streaming service, you and I are video streaming on Rumble right now while we are also on the radio show.
Rumble,
that they are a part of this. Are you telling me that Rumble can't now share the content? Fox still controls it?
I couldn't speak to it for sure, but I think because Rumble is in partnership, they're okay. But I don't, that's where I'm not clear. Like, can I?
And this is where it gets more and more problematic, because now what do? I'm on Rumble. I've got a channel on Rumble. Can I now share stuff that was on Rumble on Rumble?
No. And so MSNBC got a hold of this. And because their just reflexive position is to hate you, hate me, hate conservatives, hate Trump, hate Fox. Their knee-jerk reflexive reaction was that they went digging around in this, and I've been told that this was in place in 2016. Well, if it was, I never saw it. It was never brought to my attention. So if they did have this rule before, I'd never seen it. And MSNBC was acting like there was no real news in this. I'm just saying, and I said, apparently Salem, my colleagues are looking to secure a debate themselves. They called me because Fox News got upset. Fox News said, would you please tell your guy to knock it off and quit giving us a hard time? We're getting calls, which I thought was hilarious. So Salem calls me and says, Fox is asking you to please be nice. And I said, okay. And they said, you should know we're also trying to secure a debate. And, we're in this weird spot with the RNC. And I said, okay, but just answer this for me. Would we ever agree to terms like this? Would we ever set terms like this if we secure a debate here at Salem? And they said, well, no, absolutely not. I said, okay, as long as that's our position, then I've said my piece.
Yeah, and I would think that if this was a 2016 thing, that would be kind of fascinating because nobody paid attention to it. It could tell a very large story about where social media and digital platforms have come in 8 years, that there's a real either financial loss or other thing. What it looks like, right? When I first heard the story from you, I was like, is Fox trying to limit debate coverage?
I think so.
Putting a thumb on the scale to try and prevent certain things from getting out into the universe?
I think Tucker broke them. And I'm serious. I know it may sound kind of obvious or easy to just throw it back to the Tucker thing. Tucker's move to Twitter, I think, short-circuited them. In their arrogance, in their little bubble, they thought that the universe of conservative talk and thought all revolved around them. And then Tucker runs over to Twitter and starts his thing, and they sue him and say, you can't do that. And Tucker said, oh, but I can. There's nothing in my contract that says I can't. And I think he's got him there. which is hilarious. They're literally paying him his full freight salary from Fox while he's on Twitter. His Vivek Ramaswamy interviews got something like 30 million views as we speak.
Right.
And I just think Fox is short-circuiting. Holy crap. What is this Twitter? I think they're just late to the party. They don't understand that this is where it's going. I just saw a stat. Less than half of American households are watching TV now.
They're all here on Rumble and listening to radio. They're listening to you. Talk to Chris Stigall. And me. Oh, you're kind. You're kind. On from Philadelphia, AM 990, The Answer over there. Let's talk a little bit about the GOP debate, because today we found out that the mayor of Miami, Francis Suarez, who in the last 4 national polls, don't you laugh, this is a serious contender.
He's got a handsome head of hair like you.
Well, you're just a jealous, no hair.
I am. Man. Blindly blind, stinking jealous. I am.
In the last 4 national polls, Chris Stigall, Francis Suarez, the mayor of Miami, is a goose egg. 0. He is polled at 0%. He has 40,000 original donors. He gets to be on the debate stage. What the hell is Ronna McDaniel doing?
Yeah, I mean, I was told that you needed 1% at least as part of it, not just donors, but 1% support, which he doesn't have. And here again, I mean, one wonders, given what we were just talking about with Fox, now I have to suspect that Fox has something to do with it. I don't know if they want a larger audience in Miami. Maybe they'd like to register a little higher in the Miami audience share. Who knows? But to me, what is going to be interesting next week is this memo that's come out supposedly of Team DeSantis' super PAC that's counseling him to go after Vivek Ramaswamy and defend Trump. I don't know if you read that.
I certainly did.
I think a fight between DeSantis and Ramaswamy will be fascinating. I will say I look forward to that. I actually don't think Wednesday is going to have much to do with Trump at all, being there or not being there. I actually think the fight's going to be between those two guys.
First, if any of these candidates are smart, it's not about Trump.
Right.
It's not the story. Biden is the story. Focus on Biden from beginning to end. But I don't think it's Fox. If we're putting on tinfoil hats, Chris.
Okay.
On this beautiful head of hair of mine, what we are discussing is the fact that Francis Suarez hates Ron DeSantis, that Ronna McDaniel is in her position because Donald Trump backed her up. And that's why Suarez is in the field. Yay or nay? Am I certifiably insane?
Wow. Ronna doing Trump a solid by putting Suarez in to kick DeSantis around. That's a good one. Not one I'd considered.
Yeah, I'm going with it. I'm putting my money on it.
Well, what's Trump going to do? Because I've heard people suggest that Trump should counter program and do his own deal. You think he will?
I think that this all leads into the conversation about election interference. And I think this is the greatest example of it. He was going to do that press conference on Monday. President Trump was going to do a press conference. Here is what I call the irrefutable evidence that there were these issues with the election in Georgia. But the lawyers say to me, we should do this as a legal filing, and that's better. So that's what we're going to do. So Trump has first been prevented from speaking on Monday. If he goes to the debate, no matter what he says, that's going to get used against him in a court of law. And there are 4 of them looking to use something against him. You are whether I like Trump or not is inconsequential. Whether I think he should be the nominee is inconsequential. There can be no doubt that they're limiting his ability to campaign. And that can only be seen as election interference. If I'm him, I definitely don't go to the debate now because it can only hurt you with Fani Willis there, the Fulton County DA, or one of the others.
Yeah, that's a great perspective. And I'm also very excited and optimistic that this legislature, the 3/5 majority legislature, Republican in Georgia, that's asking Kemp to call for the special session. I don't know if that's up to Kemp, whether or not he decides to do it, but isn't that sexy? I'm very intrigued if that actually goes forward, that the legislature could spank Fani.
Yeah,
You can use that later if you'd like.
Oh, no, I don't think I will. I think that's going to be all yours, Chris Stigall. In Philadelphia, Fani Willis is district attorney.
Fani, for heaven's sakes. How can you leave that alone.
Yeah, because I have standards, and I would never tell that. I would never say that. But Chris Moore is a state senator who is calling for basically the impeachment of the district attorney there in Fulton County, and I'm with him all the way. Chris Stigall, the Harumph Society is the podcast where you find everything. Where do I find the Harumph Society?
Well, the Harumph Society is actually my 3 times a week newsletter. I'm publishing a new one today. I do that at Substack. It's my Substack 3 times a week. The Chris Stigall Show podcast, available every day, everywhere you listen to podcasts, or you can go right to my website, chrisstigall.com, and listen to it from there.
Stigall, Chris Stigall. I appreciate it. More to get to. I'm Tony Katz. And let me say, Chris, stay right there. I'll catch up with you in a second. Thrilled that you guys are here. I appreciate you being a part of what we're doing. And there's more. There's more good stuff to Spank and Fanny. I'm going to get emails, and it's all Chris Stigall's fault. Look at him. Look at him smiling like a little freak right there. I can't thank you enough. And my thanks to Americans for Prosperity, Economic Liberty, Free Speech. That is where it's at. Check them out. Find the chapter near you. AmericansForProsperity.org. I am Tony Katz, and I'll catch you next time, guys. You all take care.